we forget that the people we're trying to reach are people. And so I often have to remind myself, stop trying to make assumptions about what you think people are doing or this aspirational idea of what others might have going on, and really dig deep into your own personal experience. And so a lot of times the best performing videos or the best strategy is people that can connect to what is the real root or problem or the things that you are encountering, and then speak to that. And so if you can constantly tap into things that you are personally experiencing and not just trying to make up like, oh, I think people are having this problem or there's this scenario going on, instead of just like talking directly to your community and your audience, I think that's the biggest mindset shift that you can have when running a business.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Master Delegator podcast. Today we have an inspiring guest joining us. Her name is Chardeney Mason. Chardonnay is a dynamic videographer, podcaster, and creative entrepreneur based in the Bay Area, and she is here to share her incredible journey and expertise with us. Having transitioned from her early days in Chicago to establishing herself in the Bay Area, Chardonnay's story is one of resilience, passion, and constant growth. Over the past 3 years, she's honed her craft in videography, helping small businesses and brands connect with their audience through compelling video content. From working remote jobs and temp positions to becoming a full-time entrepreneur, her diverse background enriches her perspective and approach to videography. In our conversation, we dive into practical advice for overcoming self-doubt, building confidence in front of the camera, and exploring creative ways to share content, even if you're camera shy. Chardonnay also provides valuable insights into client collaboration, the importance of understanding your audience, and how to strategically use video marketing to enhance your brand's visibility. We'll hear also about her approach to planning, balancing day-to-day tasks with long-term goals, and the necessity of prioritizing to avoid feeling overwhelmed. No matter where you are in your creative or entrepreneurial journey, this episode is packed with actionable tips to help you grow and succeed. So get ready to be inspired and equipped with the knowledge to take your video content to the next level. Without further ado, let's dive into our conversation with Chardeney. Hey Chardeney, I'm excited to have you here today on the Master Delegator podcast. Welcome.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, well, I know that you are a videographer and that you are based in Los Angeles, California. Am I correct, LA?
I'm actually in Oakland, California. I'm in the Bay
Oh,
Area.
okay. Okay, you're in the Bay Area. All right. Well, before we get started, would you mind introducing yourself, to our listeners?
Yeah, so I'm Chardonnay. I'm a podcaster, videographer, and creative entrepreneur, but my primary business is videography, and I help create videos to help small businesses and brands connect to their desired audience. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So, and you've been doing this for more than 3 years now, right? Between 3 to 4 years. What were you doing before?
Oh, wow. So I was doing a little bit of everything. Prior to, because I moved from Chicago and
Hmm.
I came out here, I took a leap of faith. And when I came out here, I was working remote and I was running social media ads and campaigns and running a social media account for a friend who owns a lash lounge and a beauty bar. And just upon just kind of getting my footing out here in the Bay Area, I did a lot of like temp jobs and I worked through staffing agencies. And then I landed at a really cool nonprofit organization, and I was a studio coordinator at the nonprofit organization. And so I got a chance to just work alongside a lot of different designers. I was introduced to so many different things within that world. And then the pandemic hit, and studio coordination since we were no longer in-house inside of like a real office. My manager, she kind of was like, hey, like, we enjoy working with you. However, the chances of us actually working in person,
Mm.
we don't know if that's going to be a thing. So now might be a good time to actually start um, pursuing a path that you're actually interested in. I always was very transparent and open about the things that I was doing on the side, which was building my podcast and also doing freelance videography with the little bit of the networking community that I had built out here when I first moved. And so she encouraged me to seek out a full-time videography role, and I landed at Blue Bottle Coffee, where I started doing videos for them, and I was there for 2 years, and
Mm.
that was great. And then I kind of just gracefully transitioned into full-time entrepreneurship. So, yeah, my path prior to this, it was a little bit of everything. So, yeah.
I love it. Wow. And so, do you mainly help local clients or do you also travel?
I mainly help local clients, but I also travel as well. I've done a few projects just because I'm from Chicago. So every now
Mhm.
and then, when I'm back at home visiting friends or family, sometimes people might find out that I'm in the area and they'll be like, hey, can you come do an event recap video? Or do you mind taking some photos for me doing something else? So it just kind of depends on where I'm at the time.
I see. So you were working for other people before, and you were probably part of a team as well. You have
Mm-hmm.
support, in short. And now you're doing your own thing, and that's kind of different, right? What were some of the challenges that you dealt with as you're like starting to grow your creative business?
Oh, wow. The biggest challenge is just always feeling like there was never enough time within the day. And I always felt like I was spread very thin and
Mm,
I just got really overwhelmed because I think in the beginning, when you are starting a business, you feel like everything is a priority. You feel like you have to do
right.
all the things, and I wasn't able to zoom out. And hindsight, now I'm able to zoom out and see like the main thing that I needed was I needed to let people know the services that I offer, and I needed to let people know how to get in contact with me. And I know there's other administrative things that you feel like is such a requirement. When I first started doing this full time for myself, but the biggest thing was just getting extra hands to help me with everything that I wanted to accomplish.
Right. Yeah. Wow. And how are you? I mean, I feel like for most entrepreneurs, we've been through that. I feel like that's one of the biggest, challenge an entrepreneur um may or may not experience. But currently, how are you overcoming that challenge? Because that kind of challenge, it's not like when you figure it out, it stays that way. It's not, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like you have to be intentional about what you want to prioritize as well. So, how are
Absolutely.
you going about it now, making sure that, you prioritize what needs to be prioritized?
Absolutely. And like you said, it's an ongoing thing because life happens. And
Mm,
so basically what I try to do is I try to plan out as far as possible that I possibly can. And I try to set aside time for when I can work within the business and then work on the business, because those are completely two different things. So what I mean is
right.
working within the business, that's the day to day of actually editing videos or maybe going out into the field and filming videos, which requires time and preparation, like charging the batteries, making sure that my gear and stuff, it works before I actually get out into the field. But then also it's that gap in between like working on and working with clients, but also marketing and making sure that I'm set up for once I finish with this project that I have something else lined up so that way I can continue to provide this service to other people. So I have to strategically like set aside time to specifically market the business. And then I also have to set aside time for learning the craft and learning the new tools and technology that's out there. And so it's an ongoing challenge of being able to both zoom in and out of just all the different things that I'm working on.
It's really just all about the intentionality, right? Just
Yeah.
knowing what you need to do first, intentionality and knowing what you need to prioritize. Otherwise, you're going to be stressed and overwhelmed with everything that you think you need to do all at the same time,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, so when it comes to helping businesses promote their brand through videos, and I think it's very important nowadays that you promote yourself using a visual creative, and whether it's through YouTube or Reels or TikTok, you need to have something visual that people can sort of like get to know you just by seeing your face, right? Or your personality, or by just listening to you. And that's one of the benefits of having a video marketing, right? So let's say I need a videographer to help me promote my brand, let's say my personal brand. What are the things that you would need from me, or what are the things that I need to plan before actually working with you?
Yeah, so that is that I'm so happy you asked that question because a lot of times people have come to me and they're like, I know I need a video, but I don't know exactly like what I need specifically with a video. And
Mm-hmm.
so the most important part about doing the thing that I do is I have to articulate and be able to communicate with the client or whoever's coming to me and asking me for a video. I have to ask them like, what is their why? Why do you feel like you need a video in the first place? Outside of just feeling the pressure that we get from social media and, external sources about um, having a video, I really try to understand, okay, what are you going to do with this video outside of social media? I try to get an understanding of if this video is going to be shown on their website. Are they going to use this video to potentially attach to an email newsletter? Or is this something that they are planning to partner with, like a grant application? So
Mm-hmm.
what I like to do is I like to have like I call it like a creative chat before we actually start working with each other. So that way I can make sure that I personally have the skills, the tools, and the support to deliver whatever it is that they want. So it's basically like a discovery call where I'm really taking like probably 30 minutes to an hour and I'm just talking to them about what it is that they do within their business and like just trying to get as much details and information as possible about, okay, if they hire me to work with them, what is it that they want me to capture? And sometimes people they aren't sure. And so in our call, I will send them away with like homework. I would tell them to just go look at other businesses or brands or people that have inspired them, or even if it's a video that has just kind of stuck with them, I would say go and find those pieces that have stuck with you and then come back, share it with me, and then we'll kind of just dissect why they like that video. And then from there, then it's like, okay, then I can let them know if I'm able to deliver a video for them or not. And then we start to plan out, okay, what are the next steps? Like finding a location, or do I need additional hands, somebody to come and set up lights, or an additional
Mm-hmm.
videographer to help support with other angles. So it's really a process of getting a clear understanding about what they're going to be using the video for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's say a video needs a script. Is that something that the client needs to work on, or is that something that you're gonna provide for the client, or is it kind of like a collaboration?
It's a collaboration. So oftentimes I have to tell people like I'm not a copywriter.
Mm-hmm.
However, sometimes scripting is a part of it, or sometimes I have clients who they are starting a business as well. And because I have that experience of being a solo entrepreneur, I know how sometimes it can be scary to just like talk to a camera. So what I will do is I'll ask them, I'll say, what are the main key points that you want to articulate to whoever comes across this video? And I will personally have them write it out. And then I might recommend them like a tool like ChatGPT, or maybe I might have somebody who is like a copywriter or something that I can refer them to. And then what I do have is a teleprompter. And so what I would do is if we have a video shoot coming up, I'll bring my teleprompter, I'll upload the script, and then they can read off their script. And as I'm recording them and working with them, I might coach them through it, and I'll say, hey, it's okay to loosen up a little bit, or feel free to relax, or maybe say that last line again, and just kind of coach them through the process. But to answer your question, I don't write the scripts for them, but that's a part of our discovery call. We will chat through some things that they do need to prepare before the actual day of the shoot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for many businesses, they think, I mean, for some people, they can probably do it, but most people, they're not able to. They think that having a professional videographer to promote their business is not really necessarily when they have access to their own phone and film themselves, right? So, when is the time for a business owner to hire a professional to do their video promotion?
I would say that if you are feeling overwhelmed with the thought process of even sitting down and just hitting that record button, that might be the time to give a videographer a call, because sometimes a lot of people, they're just in their heads and they're overthinking the entire process. They're like, I know I have a lot of women who come to me to work with me, and a lot of times it's like the hair, the makeup, the what am I going to wear? They're thinking about all these other elements of how they're going to show up on camera. And then the thought process of like, okay, taking a bunch of different takes to record a video. And sometimes it is just that discovery call that someone might have with me where they're like, oh, okay, I don't have to actually talk directly to the camera. I can just record myself doing the thing and then do a voiceover. So sometimes that is things that might come up within the discovery call where I'm actually coaching people through how they can approach video, because it can be intimidating at times. And I'm the type of person where it's like, I want to make sure whether you choose to work with me or if you choose to set up your iPhone and do it on your own, you are going to feel confident whenever you sit down and record a video. So there are some cases where they're like, you know what? I just want you to come out and film it and edit it and do all the things. And then there's other times where it's just like, hey, I just need you to coach me through how I can do this in a short, succinct amount of time and not spend a bunch of time trying to learn all this different gear and tools and things of that nature. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a variety of different ways to approach it.
Right, yeah, that's so true. And I totally agree when you said, it can be a little bit intimidating, or not a little bit, it can be really intimidating, you know, filming with other people, because when I film something, especially when I don't script, I make mistakes like 1 million times.
Mm-hmm.
I probably have 1 million retakes, redo all of my video.
Are you sick and tired of being overwhelmed and afraid you'll never scale your business? Meet Smart VAs. Unlike many virtual assistant agencies that only assign one dedicated virtual assistant, we provide flexibility for growing businesses by assigning a team of experienced virtual assistants that can do different tasks to support your continuous growth. Visit smartvas.online to book a free discovery call and start growing your business.
What is your advice to, businesses who are wanting to hire a professional videographer, but they have that, intimidation, or they are probably maybe shy to be talking in front of, because some people, they're shy about, or they're not comfortable when it comes to talking in front of a camera. How much more if there's somebody with them, right? So how do you encourage somebody to, still book a professional videographer?
Yeah, so there's a few different ways that I recommend approach looking for someone to work with, especially because there's this thing within this industry. I feel like every industry has a language. Like, for instance, designers, they have their own language, like prototype, design
Mm,
sprint, or Figma, or when you work in maybe like the finance industry, they have their own set of language and terminology. And so the same way when it relates to working in video, a lot of people get confused because there's also a term of videographer as well as a cinematographer. And so oftentimes you might have somebody who's looking for somebody to film their wedding, and they may want it to be something just like, they may want it to feel like a family home video. However, what I recommend is when people are searching for the person that they want to work with, do your research and figure out what style of video does that person specialize in. Ask them, are you a videographer or are you a cinematographer? And the way that you can differentiate between that is cinematographers, they have these it's more like a movie. It's
mm,
very um stylized in the angles that they're capturing. And then a videographer, they are more so just kind of capturing people in their most authentic setting. And
mm,
it tends to be a little bit confusion because sometimes you have videographers like myself where you have the storytelling capability,
right.
where sometimes it might be not necessarily the angle. However, the way that I'm capturing it, I am able to put it together so that way it tells like the story of how you all met to now you all are walking down the aisle. Or sometimes people just want somebody at their event to just pop up a camera and just record just people in their natural setting and stuff. But a more tangible way to kind of figure out if a person is right for you or not is to look at their portfolio.
Mm,
And if there's something in their portfolio that is not resonating with you, and you're like, I absolutely love this video that you created, and I love this example that's on your website, then if you're not having that moment, then 9 times out of 10, you're not going to like how that person captures whatever it is that you're hiring them for. So my best recommendation for anybody seeking out somebody to work with, make sure that you ask them for examples of work that they have, whether that's filming a music video, an event recap video, a wedding, or a interview style video. Ask them for specific examples that relate to the type of project that you have in mind that you want them to capture, because that'll give you the best idea of, okay, this is the person I want to work with because I like their style and I can see them capturing something similar for me. So
mhm.
that's some advice that I have.
Yeah, I love that. And for businesses or brands that are wanting to get more sales, get more leads coming to their business, what type of video promotion do you recommend them do?
Well, as it relates to businesses, because here's the thing, when you're working with somebody on a smaller scale versus a business that has a wider audience, um, it's a wide range of types of videos that you want to deliver. So I think in that instance, if I am working with a business, that's where I would ask to speak with somebody on their marketing team and figure out like what is the strategy. And again, going back to that point of what is the why, because if you're working for a business, you might the strategy for the business might be they want to focus more on lifestyle content.
Mm-hmm.
And lifestyle content is a lot different from recording videos for internal use that might be targeting, okay, this is how we want to speak to employees that we are onboarding so that way they have an understanding of the company culture. So I would really work with a business to find out what is the strategy and what is their intention. And if their intention is to get more sales, it's a little bit more research. And so I would ask them, okay, what is something that you all have put out in the past that you all have received a lot of positive feedback from? And then based off of however that conversation goes, then I can give them my best recommendation of what types of videos we should create, whether that's like an how-to video, is it more of a lifestyle video where you're just capturing the ambiance and the setting and what it feels like to engage with the business or the product, or is it a video that's more just informative of like
Mm.
what's the company culture or what the customer would benefit from by engaging with the business, the brand, or the product. So it's a bunch of different ways to just create those videos that's most impactful for them.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And what is the most common mistake that you see businesses do when it comes to video promotion that we should avoid?
They are not clear on their audience or their
Mm-hmm.
customer because, again, it's different from a local business to a bigger business or brand. A bigger business or brand, they're trying to speak to a wide range of people. And I think when you speak to a wide range of people, you lose that voice where you're talking directly to your customer and directly to a specific audience. And something that I think that a lot of businesses get wrong is they lose the core of who their audience is, the core of
Mm.
why people gravitated to them in the first place. So the biggest recommendation that I have is to have a clear idea of who you're talking to, because that'll make the video process so much easier, from scripting to filming to getting the brand visibility and the engagement that you want. It all boils down to whatever story you're telling and also who you're talking to. You really have to have a clear idea of who that customer is.
Right. Yeah. And I believe that, and I believe that that is the number one, common mistake. And because, I dealt with that, sometimes, because sometimes there's this mindset that if you only talk to a specific audience, there's a mindset you think that how about the others? What if they're also interested in my topic? That's why most people they tend to like talk to a wider audience, even though they have a specific audience, because they're scared of losing those other audience who quote unquote might be interested in what they are talking about. If that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah,
So how do we correct that? I don't know what
yeah.
to call that, mindset or fear, you know, fear of
Um,
losing potential audience.
I think that and this is something I'm constantly doing, and an exercise I often have to practice is we forget that the people we're trying to reach are people. And so I often have to remind myself, like, stop trying to make assumptions about what you think people are doing or this aspirational idea of what others might have going on, and really dig deep into your own personal experience. And I think that we forget that we are talking to other people, and a lot of us have the same experiences. And so a lot of times the best performing videos or the best strategy is people that can connect to what is the real root or problem or the things that you are encountering, and then speak to that. And so if you can constantly tap into things that you are personally experiencing and not just trying to make up like, oh, I think people are having this problem, or I think there's this scenario going on, instead of just like talking directly to your community and your audience instead of talking at them. I think that's the biggest mindset shift that you can have when running a business. And it takes practice, it takes time to just remind yourself, because a lot of people, including myself, you never want to get stuck doing the same thing and you feel like a robot. So you try out these different things, trying to see what people want, again, making assumptions instead of just tuning into yourself, and also just directly asking your people who already support you, your community or your audience or whoever you're creating for, just asking them like, hey, what's going on in your world, and what could we do to make this better? Or, what's something that you would like to see? So
Yeah, I love that, getting feedback, from your audience. I think that is the most effective way of improving your business as a business owner, getting feedback from your community or from your target audience. So as we wrap up, what is something what advice would you give to people who are stressed and overwhelmed when it comes to promoting their self um, online through videos, especially people who are introverts, right? They don't want to show their face on social media or on Instagram. What advice would you give to them?
I would say start with the medium that feels most approachable to you. So for many years, like my podcast and the things that I've been doing online have been faceless, because I am at my core. It's so funny because I am an introverted extrovert, meaning I do a lot of extroverted things, but
Mm.
I'm really an introvert. Like I can spend time at home just sewing or just reading or just, just doing things in my own company. And for the longest, I had a podcast that was faceless. It was just audio only. But I knew I wanted to work within media, and I knew that I enjoyed, making videos, but I started with just a podcast and just using my voice. And then gradually over time, I built up that confidence of stepping in front of the camera and then practicing, whether that was just showing pictures and my voice was over the pictures, or then elevating to um, making a script and using a teleprompter to kind of help me make those videos and get out what I wanted to say, so that way I wouldn't spend a ton of time rambling, or I didn't want to spend a ton of time taking multiple takes. So I would just say, just take it one task at a time and gradually build up to where you are comfortable and you feel confident in front of the camera. And it's really popular now to do faceless
Right.
videos where you're just showing, you in your natural setting, whether it's that bird's eye view. There's some cool like technology and glasses out now where you can just kind of record your day to day, or you can just kind of set up your phone as you are working on your business, if that's like packaging up keychains, or if you are like an illustrator or an artist or something, and just recording yourself. And then you could do like a little voiceover over that video, or just put everything that you want to say in words as copy. So it's a bunch of different ways to approach it. And my advice for somebody who's in that like space where you're like double dutching and you're trying to decide, do I go all in or whatever, is just take it one task at a time and gradually build up to where you feel confident doing what you need to do in front of the camera.
Right, exactly. You don't really have to copy what other people are doing, right? There's a lot of faceless channels out there, especially on Instagram, that are very successful. But
Yeah.
but either regardless of what you do, either you put your face out there or you do faceless videos, it takes consistency still, and confidence, because even if it's faceless, you're still sharing a part of yourself to the world. So you have to be okay with that.
Yeah, yeah. And I often I forget who told me this, but I had a family member where I was like, I used to always second guess. I used to be like, do people even care? Does this
Yeah.
matter? And like, if this has been something that has been an ongoing thought or an idea in the back of your mind, like it does matter because when you start to, there's a famous quote, when you allow your light to shine, you unconsciously allow others to do the same. And you may think like nobody cares about whatever it is that you're into or that you're doing, but there are that small group of people that are out there that are into whatever it is that you're into, but they won't be able to find you if you keep kind of holding back and not sharing that part of you. And that one thing that's unique to you might be the thing that blows up because it's different and it's not something that everybody else is talking about. So that's something else I have to constantly remind myself, as well as people who have that fear of putting themselves out there. It's like, you're probably the missing piece that the internet needs to see.
Mm. Yeah, that's so true. I love that. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Chardonnay. Where can people find you online?
Yeah, so any of my personal accounts, it's just my first and last name, Chardeney Mason, and you spell Chardonnay, Chardenney. And professionally, it's Chardeney Mason Creations is my website and more of my professional channels and things of that nature. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for inviting me onto the podcast.
Of course. Yeah, you're welcome.